Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Talk English Now. I'm Sarah, and today we're going to talk about how you can practice everyday English in a way that makes you sound more natural, more fluent, and more confident when you chat with others. This lesson is designed especially for learners at the B1 and B2 levels. So if you're an intermediate learner, you are in exactly the right place. Think about the last time you tried to have a casual conversation in English. Maybe you were at work, maybe you were with friends online, or maybe you were traveling and needed to ask for something in a shop. Did you feel a little nervous, or did you find yourself searching for the right words? That's completely normal. Many learners reach a point where they understand English but still struggle to sound natural in everyday chats. That's where today's practice will help. In this lesson, I'll guide you step by step through how native speakers usually chat, how to respond quickly without overthinking, and how to use phrases that feel natural instead of too formal or too simple. By the end of this session, you'll have a set of practical tools you can use in real conversations every single day. Let's start with the idea of flow in conversation. In English, when people chat casually, they don't speak in perfectly complete sentences all the time. Instead, they connect thoughts with small words, they shorten phrases, and they often use tone and rhythm to carry meaning. For example, instead of saying, "Yes, I agree with your opinion," a native speaker might simply say, "Yeah, totally," or "For sure." These short, natural responses make the conversation feel smooth and easy. That's something we want to practice together. So let's imagine a simple situation. You meet a friend and they ask, "How's your day going?" A textbook answer might be, "My day is going well, thank you. How about you?" Bye. There's nothing wrong with that, but it can sound a little stiff. A more natural, chat-like response would be, "Pretty good, thanks. What about you?" Notice how "pretty good" feels relaxed, and how "what about you" keeps the chat moving. This is the kind of everyday English we'll practice today. I want you to repeat after me slowly. "Pretty good, thanks. What about you?" One more time. "Pretty good, thanks. What about you?" Try to notice the rhythm, the small pause after "pretty good," and the way the question tag "what about you" rises at the end. This is exactly how native speakers make their tone friendly and engaging. Practicing this kind of rhythm is just as important as learning the words themselves. Now let's take another example. Imagine you want to show interest in what someone is saying. Instead of always saying, "That's interesting," which can feel overused, you can try small, natural phrases like, "No way," "Seriously," or "That's cool." These are short, but they make the chat feel alive. So if your friend says, "I got a new job last week," you could say, "No way, that's awesome." Repeat after me. "No way, that's awesome." Feel how that little phrase makes you sound more engaged. You're not just giving a flat response, you're reacting in a way that feels natural and personal. When learning to chat in English, one challenge is avoiding direct translation from your native language. Sometimes learners think in their own language and then try to say the sentence in English word by word. This often makes the chat sound unnatural. For example, maybe in your language you would say something like, "It is pleasing to me," but in English, No one says that in casual chat. Instead, we'd say, I like it, or I'm into it. That's why today's lesson focuses on practice with natural English phrases, not just grammar rules. Let's do a little shadowing exercise together. Shadowing means you listen and repeat immediately, almost like you're echoing what I say. This helps you catch the natural rhythm of English and makes your speech flow more smoothly. I'll say a short phrase, and you repeat it right after me. Ready? Sounds good. Again. Sounds good. One more time. Sounds good. Great job. This little phrase is so common, you can use it when you agree with a plan. If someone says, let's meet at 5, you can reply, sounds good. It's short, friendly, and natural. Let's try another shadowing phrase. I get it. Ready? Repeat. I get it. Again. I get it. One more time. I get it. Perfect. You can use this when you want to show you understand someone's point. Instead of always saying, I understand, which can sound a little formal, I get it, feels natural in everyday conversation. Another important part of chatting naturally is using little fillers the way native speakers do. I don't mean fillers like or I mean small connecting words like well, so, or you know. These don't carry a lot of meaning by themselves, but they make the conversation flow more smoothly. For example, if someone asks, how was your weekend? You might say, well, it was nice. I went to see a movie. That well at the start gives you a second to thin K and also makes your tone sound casual and relaxed. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. Well, it was nice. I went to see a movie. Again. Well, it was nice. I went to see a movie. One more time, but focus on saying it in a relaxed way. Well, it was nice. I went to see a movie. Excellent. This is exactly how you can practice at home, by repeating short, natural phrases until they feel comfortable for you to use in real life. Something that really helps learners chat like natives is practicing back-and-forth exchanges, not just single sentences. Conversations are like tennis. The ball goes back and forth quickly, and you have to be ready with a response that keeps the rally going. If you wait too long, the conversation slows down. So let's try a quick role play. I'll ask a question, and then I'll pause so you can answer with a natural phrase. Here we go. Hey, how was your weekend? Your turn. Good. Maybe you said, it was great, thanks. How about yours? That's a perfect natural response. Let's do another. Did you watch the game last night? Your turn. Great. You might have said, yeah, I did. It was exciting. Or, no, I missed it. Was it good? See how these short responses keep the chat moving and make you sound engaged. The more you practice these little exchanges, the more natural your English will feel. Don't worry about making every sentence perfect. Focus on the rhythm, the tone, and the natural flow. That's what makes chatting in English feel real. Before we continue, let me remind you of something important. You don't have to learn hundreds of phrases all at once. Start with a few, practice them every day, and use them whenever you can. Over time, they'll become automatic, and you won't even have to think about them. That's the real key to chatting like a native. All right, let's take it a step further. One thing that makes conversations feel natural is reacting with emotion. If your friend says, "I just bought a new phone," and you answer only, "Okay," the conversation stops. But if you say, "Oh, nice, what kind did you get?" suddenly, the chat keeps going. Notice how you showed interest and asked a follow-up question. That's exactly how native speakers keep conversations alive. Try this with me. Repeat after me slowly. "Oh, nice. What kind did you get?" Again. "Oh, nice. What kind did you get?" Perfect. This is a small but powerful way to sound more natural. By reacting and adding a question, you're showing interest and you're making the other person feel heard. The goal of today's lesson is not just to give you phrases, it's to help you build confidence in using them in real conversations. So as we continue, I'll keep giving you examples, shadowing practice, and little role plays you can try along with me. The more you repeat, the more natural it will feel. Let's continue practicing those natural reactions. Imagine you're talking with a colleague and they tell you, "I just got back from vacation." Instead of only saying, "That's good," you can make it more engaging by adding a question. For example, "That's awesome. Where did you go?" This simple follow-up not only shows interest but also encourages the other person to share more. Conversations grow when we show curiosity, and in English, curiosity is expressed through these little natural questions. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. "That's awesome. Where did you go?" One more time, but with energy in your voice. "That's awesome. Where did you go?" Good. Notice how just a few extra words change the whole feeling of the exchange. You're not just reacting, you're connecting. Now let's think about one of the most common situations, meeting someone for the first time. Many learners rely on formal textbook phrases like, "Nice to meet you. How do you do?" That's grammatically correct, but it sounds a little old-fashioned or stiff in everyday life. A more natural phrase is simply, "Nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you," or "Good to meet you. How's everything going?" These kinds of lines feel much more relaxed and closer to what native speakers would say. Try repeating this after me. "Good to meet you. How's everything going?" Again. "Good to meet you. How's everything going?" Excellent. When you practice this kind of phrase, think about how you might use it in real life. Maybe the next time you join a meeting or meet a friend of a friend, this phrase will be ready on your tongue. Another area where learners often feel unsure is small talk. Small talk is the light, casual conversation that happens in daily life. At the bus stop, in an elevator, at a party, or even online. It might feel unimportant, but it's a huge part of sounding natural in English. Small talk isn't about sharing big ideas. It's about showing friendliness and building connection. And the good news is that small talk usually follows simple patterns. For example, talking about the weather is one of the most classic small talk topics. If someone says, "It's really hot today," you could answer, "Yeah, I know, it's boiling," or "Tell me about it, I can't wait for some rain." These short exchanges don't need long explanations. They just show that you're engaged in the moment. Let's practice shadowing again. Ready? Repeat after me. Yeah, I know, it's boiling. One more time. Yeah, I know, it's boiling. Good. Now another. Tell me about it. I can't wait for some rain. Again. Tell me about it. I can't wait for some rain. Perfect. These phrases may seem small, but they're the glue of everyday conversation. Another great small talk topic is daily routines. You might ask, "How's work going?" or "How's school treating you?" These questions open the door for the other person to share. And if they ask you first, you can answer with natural expressions like, "It's been busy, but good," or "Pretty good, just the usual." Notice how native speakers rarely give long, detailed answers unless asked. They keep it short, relaxed, and open for the conversation to continue. Repeat after me. It's been busy, but good. Again. It's been busy, but good. One more. Pretty good, just the usual. Great work. By practicing these small, natural answers, you're training your brain to respond quickly and smoothly. Now, let's focus on another skill, agreeing and disagreeing politely. In everyday chats, you don't always agree with everything. But the key is to show your opinion in a friendly way. Instead of saying, "I disagree," which can sound a bit too direct, you can use softer phrases like, "I see your point, but," or "That's true, though I think." These help you express your thoughts without stopping the flow of conversation. Let's try it together. Repeat. "I see your point, but I think we could try another way." Again. "I see your point, but I think we could try another way." One more. "That's true, though I think it depends on the situation." Excellent. Using these kinds of phrases keeps the conversation balanced and respectful, which is exactly how native speakers manage disagreements in daily life. Another useful area is giving opinions naturally. Many learners fall back on saying, "in my opinion," all the time, but native speakers often use simpler, softer phrases like, "I guess," "I'd say," or "to be honest." These expressions make your opinion sound more casual and less heavy. For example, instead of saying, "In my opinion, this movie is very good," you might say, "To be honest, I think the movie was great." Notice how it feels smoother and more natural. Let's practice. Repeat after me. "To be honest, I think the movie was great." Again. "To be honest, I think the movie was great." One more. "I'd say it was one of the best films this year." Perfect. Using these kinds of phrases makes your English sound less formal and more conversational. Here's another tip. Don't be afraid of short answers. In English, short responses are often the most natural. If someone asks, "Do you like coffee?" you don't always need to say, "Yes, I like coffee very much." You can just say, "Yeah, I love it," or even, "For sure." Short answers feel friendly and confident, and they're easy to remember and use. Repeat after me. "Yeah, I love it." Again. "Yeah, I love it." And another. "For sure." Good job. These short replies are powerful tools for everyday chatting. Let's pause for a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more daily English practice. Your support helps us keep creating these lessons for you, and it also makes sure you never miss a chance to practice with me again. All right, let's keep going. Another important skill is reacting with surprise or excitement. Native speakers use little reaction words all the time. For example, really? Wow, no kidding, or you're joking. These phrases make you sound alive in the conversation. Imagine your friend says, "I met a famous actor yesterday." You could say, "No kidding, that's amazing." This kind of reaction makes your English sound lively and natural. Let's practice. Repeat after me. "No kidding? That's amazing." Again. "No kidding. That's amazing." One more. "Wow, that's incredible." Perfect. These small reactions are what make conversations fun and real. Another thing to practice is showing that you're listening. In English, we often use short words while the other person is speaking, like, "uh-huh," "yeah," "right," or "I see." These little signals tell the other person that you're following along, even if you're not saying much. They're especially useful in longer conversations because they keep the connection alive. Repeat after me. "Uh-huh," "yeah," "right," "I see." Excellent. Try using these when you're listening to someone in English, even in practice. They'll make your interactions feel much more natural. Now, let's work on asking casual questions. Instead of always asking, "What is your hobby?" or "What do you like to do?" which can sound a little formal, you can ask, "So, what do you usually do for fun?" or "What kind of stuff are you into?" These sound more natural and friendly. They also invite longer answers. Repeat after me. "So, what do you usually do for fun?" Again. "So, what do you usually do for fun?" One more. "What kind of stuff are you into?" Great. These are the kinds of questions you can use to keep the chat moving and to get to know people better. Another very common casual question is, "How's it going?" You can answer with natural responses like, "Not bad," "Pretty good," or "Can't complain." Each of these is short, simple, and very common in native English. Let's practice. Repeat after me. "Not bad." "Pretty good." "Can't complain." Excellent. These answers will come in handy in almost any casual chat. Remember, everyday English is about rhythm, not perfection. The goal isn't to memorize a list of phrases, it's to practice them in a way that makes them automatic. That's why shadowing, repetition, and role play are so useful. They train your brain to respond naturally without overthinking. Let's take the idea of rhythm a little further. When you listen to native speakers chatting, you'll notice that their sentences rise and fall like music. The tone isn't flat, it moves up when they ask a question, and it goes down when they make a statement. Practicing this musical quality is essential if you want to sound natural. Let's try it together with a simple phrase. I'll say it once slowly, and then you repeat. "How are you doing today?" Notice how the voice rises at the end. Now try again. "How are you doing today?" Very good. That rising tone tells the listener that it's a question, and it makes your English sound natural. Now let's try the opposite. A simple statement. I'm doing fine, thanks. The voice comes down at the end. Repeat it with me. I'm doing fine, thanks. Again. I'm doing fine, thanks. Perfect. Paying attention to this up and down movement of the voice is just as important as the words you use. It's what gives your English a friendly, conversational feel. Another part of everyday conversation is using casual connectors. These are small words that link ideas together naturally. For example, native speakers often say, "by the way," when they want to change the topic gently, or they say "anyway" when they want to move on. Let's practice. Repeat after me. By the way, have you seen that new show? Again. By the way, have you seen that new show? Now another one. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Excellent. Adding these little connectors makes your speech flow just like a native's. Sometimes you also need to show hesitation in a natural way. In English, people often do this by saying, "well," or "I mean," before explaining. For example, "well, I'm not sure about that," or "I mean, it could work." These don't add much meaning, but they buy you a second to think, and they make your English sound less robotic. Let's try. Repeat after me. Well, I'm not sure about that. Again. Well, I'm not sure about that. One more. I mean, it could work. Perfect. Using these naturally takes practice, but once you get comfortable, your English will feel much smoother. Let's do another role play together. Imagine I'm your friend, and I say, "I'm thinking about moving to another city." How would you respond? You could say, "Really? Where to?" Or, "That's a big decision. What made you think about it?" Both of these show interest and keep the conversation alive. Let's practice together. Really? Where to? Again. Really? Where to? Now the other one. That's a big decision. What made you think about it? Great. Notice how you're not just answering, you're asking back. That's exactly what makes a chat feel natural. Let's also practice ways to end a conversation politely. Many learners struggle with this because they're not sure how to close the chat without being rude. Native speakers often use soft endings like, "Anyway, I'd better get going," or "All right, I'll catch you later." These give a signal that the conversation is ending, but in a friendly way. Repeat after me. Anyway, I'd better get going. Again. Anyway, I'd better get going. Now another one. All right. I'll catch you later. Excellent. These endings are very useful in both casual and slightly formal situations. Now let's work on making your answers feel fuller without being too long. For example, if someone asks, "How was your weekend?" instead of just saying, "Good," you could say, "It was good. I met some friends for dinner." This gives a little more detail and invites the other person to ask more questions. Let's practice. It was good. I met some friends for dinner. Again. It was good. I met some friends for dinner. Perfect. This small addition makes the conversation flow much better. Another example. If someone asks, "What are you doing tomorrow?" instead of only saying, "studying," you could say, "I'll be studying, but I might go for a walk later." That way, you're giving more information and opening the door for the other person to respond. Repeat after me. I'll be studying, but I might go for a walk later. Again, I'll be studying, but I might go for a walk later. Excellent. This makes your English feel natural and engaging. Let's take a moment to practice quick answers with follow-ups. I'll ask a question, and I want you to answer with something short but complete. Ready? What kind of music do you like? Your turn. Good. Maybe you said, I like pop, but I also listen to jazz. That's excellent. Here's another. Did you watch the movie last night? Your turn. Great. You might have said, yeah, I did. It was really funny. Or, no, I didn't. Was it good? See how these answers keep the conversation alive? That's exactly the skill we're building. Another key to chatting like a native is using natural time phrases. Instead of always saying, yesterday I went to the park, you could say, I went to the park yesterday. Or instead of saying, I will call you tomorrow, you can say, I'll call you tomorrow. These small shifts make your sentences sound smoother. Let's practice. I went to the park yesterday. Again. I went to the park yesterday. Now another. I'll call you tomorrow. Perfect. These small changes will help your English feel much more natural. Let's practice how to respond when someone thanks you. Many learners always say, "You're welcome," which is fine, but there are many other natural options. Native speakers often say, "No problem," "anytime," or "sure thing." Let's practice. Repeat after me. No problem. Again. Anytime. One more. Sure thing. Excellent. These will give you variety and make your speech feel more natural. Now think about how native speakers make plans. Instead of saying, "Shall we meet at the cafe?" they might say, "Wanna grab a coffee?" or "Let's meet up at the cafe." These are shorter and more natural in everyday speech. Repeat after me. Wanna grab a coffee? Again. Wanna grab a coffee? Now another. Let's meet up at the cafe. Excellent. You can use these when making casual plans with friends. Another useful skill is confirming information. For example, if you didn't hear something clearly, you might say, "Sorry, what was that?" or "Could you say that again?" These are softer than "Repeat, please," which can sound too direct. Let's practice. Sorry, what was that? Again. Sorry, what was that? Now another. Could you say that again? Excellent. These polite confirmations are essential for natural conversations. Sometimes you want to show agreement without repeating the whole sentence. In English, people often use phrases like "exactly," "true," or "that's so right." Repeat after me. Exactly. Again. True. One more. That's so right. Great. These little responses are perfect for showing quick agreement in everyday chat. Let's practice another role play. I'll say something, and you give a natural, short response. Ready? I'm really tired today. Your turn. Maybe you said, "Yeah, same here," or "I know the feeling." Perfect. Let's do another. I finally finished my project. Your turn. Good. You might have said, "Congrats, that's great," or "Nice, must feel good." See how short and simple these are? That's exactly what makes them sound natural. Another area we should look at is using informal contractions. Native speakers often say gonna instead of going to, or wanna instead of want to. For example, I'm gonna watch a movie tonight, or do you want to come with me? These are extremely common in casual speech. Repeat after me. I'm gonna watch a movie tonight. Again. I'm gonna watch a movie tonight. Now another. Do you want to come with me? Excellent. Learning to use these naturally will make your English flow just like a native speaker's. Of course, you don't have to use informal contractions in every situation, but when you're chatting casually with friends or classmates, they're perfectly natural. Try using them in your own practice and see how much smoother your English sounds. Let's end this section with one more practice exercise. I'll say a phrase, and you'll repeat it with natural tone and rhythm. Ready? Catch you later. Again. Catch you later. One more. See you around. Perfect. These little closing phrases are exactly how native speakers end chats in everyday life. Let's dive deeper into those everyday situations where nature, our English, makes the biggest difference. One of the most common is at a cafe or restaurant. Many learners feel nervous when ordering, but the truth is, native speakers often use very short and relaxed phrases. Instead of saying, "I would like to have a cup of coffee, please," you could simply say, "Can I get a coffee, please?" Or even, "I'll have a coffee, thanks." Both sound natural and polite without being too formal. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. Can I get a coffee, please? Again. Can I get a coffee, please? Now another. I'll have a coffee, thanks. Perfect. These are the kinds of expressions you can use in real life and feel confident that you're speaking like a native. When you're chatting with a server, you might also need to respond quickly. For example, if they ask, "For here or to go?" you could answer, "For here, thanks," or "To go, please." Let's try. For here, thanks. Again. For here, thanks. Now another. To go, please. Excellent. These little interactions are short, but they're exactly the kind of practice that will make you feel natural in daily life. Another everyday situation is shopping. Instead of saying, "How much is the price of this shirt?" which is grammatically correct but too formal, you can simply ask, "How much is this?" or "What does this cost?" Let's practice. Repeat after me. How much is this? Again. How much is this? Now another. What does this cost? Perfect. Short, simple, natural. And when you're deciding, you might want to ask for another size. Instead of, "Do you have this in another size?" you could say, "Do you have this in medium?" or "Is there a larger one?" Let's try. Do you have this in medium? Again. Do you have this in medium? One more. Is there a larger one? Excellent. With phrases like these, you'll be ready for everyday shopping conversations. Let's switch to another important situation, meeting up with friends. Native speakers often use casual, simple greetings instead of formal ones. Instead of, "Hello, how are you today?" they might just say, "Hey, what's up?" or "How's it going?" These are extremely common in everyday chats. Repeat after me. Hey, what's up? Again. Hey, what's up? Now another. How's it going? Perfect. These greetings help you blend naturally into friendly conversations. When you answer, you can keep it short, too. If someone says, "What's up?" you can reply with, "Not much," or "Just relaxing." Repeat after me. Not much. Again. Just relaxing? Great. The point is not to give a long explanation. It's to keep the rhythm of the chat alive. Now, let's practice some casual invitations. Imagine you want to invite a friend. Instead of, "Would you like to come to the cinema with me on Saturday?" which sounds too formal, you could say, "Want to see a movie Saturday?" Or, "Let's go catch a film." Let's practice. Want to see a movie Saturday? Again. Want to see a movie Saturday? Now another. Let's go catch a film. Excellent. These are natural ways to invite someone casually. And if you want to accept, you might say, "Sure, sounds fun," or "Yeah, I'm in." If you want to refuse politely, you could say, "I'd love to, but I can't this time," or "Maybe another time." Repeat after me. Sure, sounds fun. Again. Yeah, I'm in. Now a polite refusal. I'd love to, but I can't this time. Great. And done. D another. Maybe another time. Excellent. These phrases make you sound polite, natural, and friendly all at once. Another key part of everyday English is expressing feelings casually. Instead of saying, "I am very tired," you might say, "I'm exhausted," or "I'm beat." Instead of, "I am very happy," you might say, "I'm thrilled," or "I'm so pumped." Let's practice. I'm exhausted. Again. I'm exhausted. One more. I'm beat. Now for happiness. I'm thrilled. Again. I'm thrilled. One more. I'm so pumped. Perfect. Using expressions like these makes your English colorful and more native-like. Let's also talk about how to show sympathy naturally. If your friend says, "I had a terrible day," you don't want to just say, "Oh." Instead, you could say, "I'm sorry to hear that," or "That sucks." The first one is polite and works in any context. The second one is more casual but very common among friends. Repeat after me. I'm sorry to hear that. Again. I'm sorry to hear that. Now another. That sucks. Perfect. These little responses show empathy and keep the chat human. Now let's do some extended practice with role play. I'll say something and you'll answer with a natural phrase. Ready? I just got a new job. Your turn. Maybe you said, "Congrats, that's awesome." Great. Let's try another. I failed my exam. Your turn. You might have said, "I'm sorry to hear that. Don't give up." Perfect. One more. I'm going on vacation next week. Your turn. You could have said, "Lucky you, where to?" Excellent. This back-and-forth practice is the best way to train your brain for real conversations. Another everyday skill is asking for help politely. Instead of, "Give me directions," you could say, "Could you help me find this place?" Or, "Do you know where this is?" Let's practice. Could you help me find this place? Again. Could you help me find this place? Now another. Do you know where this is? Perfect. These phrases are polite, clear, and easy to use in daily life. When someone gives you directions, you can respond naturally with, "Got it, thanks," or "Thanks a lot, I appreciate it." Repeat after me, "Got it, thanks." Again, "Thanks a lot, I appreciate it." Excellent. These are natural ways to show gratitude without sounding too formal. Let's take a moment to think about conversations with classmates or colleagues. If someone asks, "Did you finish the assignment?" Instead of a long answer, you might say, "Almost, just a bit left," or, "Yeah, turned it in yesterday." Repeat after me. Almost, just a bit left. Again. Yeah, turned it in yesterday. Excellent. These short but complete answers are exactly what makes you sound confident and fluent. And sometimes you need to politely ask someone to repeat themselves. We practiced a couple earlier, but let's add some more. Instead of always saying "what," which can sound rude, you could say, "Sorry, I didn't catch that," or "Could you repeat that, please?" Let's try, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Again. "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Now another. "Could you repeat that, please?" Excellent. These keep the tone friendly while making sure you understand. Another important point is using softeners, little words that make your English sound polite and natural. For example, instead of saying, "Close the window," you could say, "Could you close the window, please?" Or, "Would you mind closing the window?" Let's practice. "Could you close the window, please?" Again. "Would you mind closing the window?" Perfect. These softeners are very common in English and show respect without making you sound too formal. Let's finish this section with a few natural compliments. Instead of saying, "Your shirt is nice," you might say, "I love your shirt. It looks great on you." Or, "That color really suits you." Repeat after me. "I love your shirt. It looks great on you." Again. "I love your shirt. It looks great on you." Now another. "That color really suits you." Excellent. Compliments like these are wonderful ways to build friendly conversations. Everyday English is about more than vocabulary. It's about building confidence to connect with people naturally. The more you practice these real-life exchanges, the more automatic they'll become. And once you stop translating in your head and start responding with these natural phrases, you'll feel the difference immediately in your conversations. Let's keep building on these everyday skills with more natural conversation practice. One of the best ways to get comfortable is by rehearsing simple scenarios that you will face often. For example, imagine you're on the phone with a friend and they ask, "What are you up to?" Instead of giving a long, formal reply, you can simply say, "Just hanging out," or "Not much, just relaxing." These short, casual answers sound exactly like what native speakers would say. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. "Just hanging out." Again. "Just hanging out." Now another. "Not much, just relaxing." Excellent. You see how these phrases don't feel forced. They flow naturally. And that's exactly what makes everyday English feel comfortable and real. Another situation is talking about plans. If someone asks, "What are you doing this weekend?" you could say, "I'm meeting some friends," or "I might just stay in and watch movies." Both are natural and sound conversational. Repeat after me. I'm meeting some friends. Again. I'm meeting some friends. One more. I might just stay in and watch movies. Perfect. These short responses not only answer the question, but also invite the other person to continue chatting. Let's practice giving updates. For example, if someone asks, "How's your family?" you can say, "They're doing well, thanks," or "Everyone's good, just busy." Repeat after me. They're doing well, thanks. Again. They're doing well, thanks. Now another. Everyone's good, just busy. Excellent. These small, polite answers are part of how native speakers keep a conversation warm and connected. Let's also look at how to ask about someone's life naturally. Instead of always saying, "How is your job?" you can try, "How's work going?" or "How's school treating you?" Let's try. Repeat after me. How's work going? Again. How's work going? One more. How's school treating you? Perfect. These questions are short and casual, and they encourage the other person to share a little more about themselves. Another key part of chatting is showing excitement or interest. If your friend says, "I just got a new car," you don't want to respond only with, "Good." A natural response would be, "That's awesome, congrats," or "Nice, what kind did you get?" Repeat after me. That's awesome, congrats. Again. That's awesome, congrats. Now another. Nice, what kind did you get? Excellent. These kinds of replies make your English feel alive and connected. Now let's practice how to tell little stories naturally. When native speakers share about their day, they don't always give long, formal sentences. They keep it simple and connected with small details. For example, "Yesterday was crazy. I missed the bus and then it started raining." Or, "This morning was nice. I had coffee on the balcony." Let's try. Repeat after me. Yesterday was crazy. I missed the bus, and then it started raining. Again. Yesterday was crazy. I missed the bus, and then it started raining. Now another. This morning was nice. I had coffee on the balcony. Excellent. Practicing these small story-style sentences helps you prepare for real conversations where you want to share little pieces of your life. Another area we should practice is responding to invitations politely. If someone says, "Do you want to join us for dinner?" you might say, "Sure, sounds great," or "I'd love to, thanks." And if you can't, you could say, "Thanks for asking, but I can't tonight," or "Maybe next time." Let's practice. Sure, sounds great. Again. Sure, sounds great. One more. Thanks for asking, but I can't tonight. Excellent. These phrases give you confidence in real-life social situations. Let's move on to compliments. In daily English, compliments are short and casual. Instead of, "Your hairstyle is very beautiful," a native speaker might say, "Love your hair," or "That looks great on you." Repeat after me. Love your hair. Again. Love your hair. Now another. That looks great on you. Perfect. Using short, natural compliments will make your English sound more friendly and native-like. Sometimes you also need to decline politely. For example, if a friend asks you to do something and you can't, instead of only saying no, you could say, "Sorry, I can't today," or I wish I could, but I'm busy. Let's practice. Sorry, I can't today. Again. Sorry, I can't today. Now another. I wish I could, but I'm busy. Excellent. These polite refusals sound respectful while keeping the tone friendly. Now let's practice more active listening. Imagine you're in a conversation and the other person is telling you about their weekend. You can show interest by saying, "Oh, really? That's cool." Or, "Sounds fun." Repeat after me. "Oh, really?" Again. "That's cool." One more. "Sounds fun." Excellent. These little phrases show that you're paying attention, and they help the conversation keep moving smoothly. Let's also think about problem situations. If something goes wrong, native speakers often use short, natural phrases like, "No worries," "It happens," or "Don't worry about it." Let's practice. No worries. Again. No worries. Now another. It happens. One more. Don't worry about it. Excellent. These expressions will make you sound calm and natural in daily interactions. Now let's put together a longer role play to tie everything together. Imagine we're chatting as friends. I'll start, and you respond naturally. Ready? "Hey, how's it going?" Your turn. Great. Maybe you said, "Pretty good. How about you?" Perfect. I'll continue. Not bad. D, just busy with work. What have you been up to? Your turn. Excellent. Maybe you said, "Just hanging out, nothing much." Perfect. I'll continue. Do you want to grab a coffee this weekend? Your turn. Great. Maybe you said, "Sure, sounds fun." See how natural this feels? This is the kind of practice that builds real fluency. Another role play. I'll start. Guess what? I passed my exam. Your turn. Maybe you said, "Congrats, that's awesome." Perfect. I'll continue. Thanks, it was really tough. Your turn. You might have said, "I bet," but you did it. Excellent. Do you see how these little exchanges create a smooth and natural conversation? This is exactly what we're aiming for. Before we wrap up, let me give you one more tip. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Native speakers don't speak perfectly either. They make small mistakes. They pause. They restart their sentences. That's completely normal. What really matters is that you keep the conversation going and stay confident. If you make a mistake, just smile and continue. Most people won't even notice, and if they do, they won't care. They'll just be happy you're practicing and communicating with them. Everyday English practice is about progress, not perfection. Each time you repeat a phrase, each time you shadow a sentence, you're building stronger habits in your brain. Over time, you'll notice that words come to you faster and your confidence grows naturally. The key is consistency. Just a little practice every day can make a huge difference. So, as we end today's lesson, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I know learning English takes patience and effort, but every time you practice, you're one step closer to fluency. Believe in yourself, because you already have the ability inside you. All you need is to keep practicing, keep repeating, and keep challenging yourself in small, natural conversations. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really proud of the effort you've put in, and I hope you continue practicing these everyday phrases until they feel automatic. Remember, fluency is not about speed. It's about comfort. And the more you practice, the more comfortable you will become. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss future lessons. I'll see you in the next practice session. Until then, keep learning, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself.